Welcome back for another video. In today's video we'll be looking at the top 100 greatest ever FPL managers, including their team selections, player ownership, transfer plans and more. We connected with one of the managers for an interview this week who has 7 top 10k finishes, and he shared some of the tips behind his success and his Gameweek 22 plans. If you want to keep up with what the greatest ever FPL managers are doing this season, don't forget to subscribe. Enjoy the video. With the many millions of FPL managers, just barely 100 meet the criteria to join our list. The criteria to join this list is a minimum of 4 top 1k finishes or a minimum of 7 top 10k finishes. They are undisputably the greatest managers to have ever played the game, with a record to prove it. We call them the Elite 100. That said, there's actually slightly more than 100, but to keep it simple, we'll mostly use percentages when going through their teams and moves. Let's start off with the Elite 100's team selections. By aggregating all of their teams together, we can arrive at a consensus team, which is a full squad of 15 players that they agree on having the most. One reasonable conclusion you could draw is that the higher percentage a player has, the more you should consider owning them. The Elite 100 template team is as follows. 6 changes to the team and a formation switch to 3-5-2. The Elite 100 reacted fast to the double game week, though it's not been the most exciting double, and we'll have many more this season, Gameweek 22 and beyond. In defence, Cancelo remains the most owned defender. James, Alonso and Rudiger all drop out and are replaced by Reguilon, Dawson and Soufal. West Ham are one of the few sides with a double game week that looked worth jumping on, and we're asking similar questions ahead of double game week 22 and the limited options. In midfield, almost 70% of the Elite 100 have to decide which direction to take with Son following his injury, which is expected to rule him out the next couple of game weeks. Salah now has just 32.7% ownership, which is expected to drop further now he's away for the African Cup of Nations with Egypt. He could miss up to 3 game weeks before returning. Bernardo drops out of the midfield and he's replaced by Gray. Many of us have been left frustrated by the Leicester vs Everton game getting postponed, which subsequently meant popular picks like Calvert-Lewin and Gray have finished for the game week, though they will have several double game weeks to come. It also meant that Leicester blanked entirely. As a result, Burnley, Arsenal and Everton all have 3 guaranteed double game weeks, or perhaps even a triple game week at some point. There's also 9 teams with at least 2 games to rearrange now. Up top, surprisingly, King drops out and he's replaced by Dennis, who was subbed off at half time in their last match. Heading into Gameweek 21, here's their transfer activity. 11% of the Elite 100 rolled their transfer, and 18% made use of their free transfers. 44% took a -4 hit, 23% took a -8, and 2% took a very bold -12 hit. Right before the deadline, we caught wind of Foden missing the Arsenal match with COVID, and combined with the double game week, it's clear that the Elite 100 feel bold hits can be justified, though the gamble is higher than ever with the unexpected postponements currently. Before we take a look at their transfers, we caught up with Amar Hussein, known as FPL Strategy. He has 7 finishes inside the top 10k, and on top of that his last 2 seasons were narrowly outside the top 10k. He's currently ranked 23k already and on course for another great season. Here's what he had to say. The first question was, what tips can you share behind your consistently good finishes? He said, don't overthink decisions. Have an initial thought a day after the game week is finished, and then if not much has changed in circumstances, I tend to go with that. It's a bit harder this season with COVID, so now I just wait till later in the week to assess the situation and not worry or overthink my transfers. Try to not do things on impulse or emotion. Give low performing players a chance, especially if the fixtures are good, and never rage transfer. Believe in my thought process when picking players. Usually pick players for their form and medium term fixtures. I wouldn't usually sell a player shortly after buying them unless they're injured. Try to pick guaranteed starters and not risky picks. I don't usually go for the likes of Mahrez. To get the edge, I tried to go for the odd big differential. This season it was KDB, but it didn't pay off. But I do limit this as I don't want to pick so many differentials that I fall down the rankings. I usually back premium midfielders to premium attackers, more points for goals and a clean sheet point. Limit my hits and stick to my plan. I don't have a season-long plan. I have a short-term plan and continually review them every 3 game weeks and adapt where necessary. I tried to jump on price rises earlier in the season, but don't worry about it too much as the season progresses. Usually a wildcard very early in the season. Try not to be rigid with my strategy. I lines back to review my plan every 3 game weeks. I try to adapt to what's in front of me without changing drastically too much. Never try to go differential on my captain. I usually pick the obvious and let the other players act as my differential. This helps manage the risk of any big drops in rank. Stats and fixtures and eye test over gut feeling for sure. My gut never gets it right anyway. Try not to chase points, always look forward using expected points and expected goals with my transfers rather than back. The next question was, what's your best FPL memory? He said one of the best picks I've done before his bandwagon was Michu in the 12-13 season. If I remember rightly, he scored around 12 or 13 goals prior to Christmas, and I had him at just the right time. He started playing amazingly well. His ownership at the time was low. By the time everyone got onto him later that season, I remember him slowing down slightly as he ended with less than 20 goals that season. All in all though, he was my best memory, and the fact I got him early just made his success a little bit sweeter. And the final question was, what's your plans for Gameweek 22? He said, I still have all my chips remaining bar the first wildcard, so I was initially going to free hit this week. However, after careful consideration, I've decided to just use one free transfer. A combination of COVID and potential postponements and the teams that have a double gaming versus single gaming players are not that great. I haven't yet decided on who my transfer will be, although a Leicester midfielder is currently the top of my thoughts. I will replace Son though, as he's out for a while now and I don't want a medium-term injured player in my team. Thanks again to FPL Strategy for taking the time to come on this week's episode. A link to his socials are in the description. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for future episodes. A quick look at the chip usage among the Elite 100 next. We have our second wildcard available to us now, at 4.2% activated theirs in Gameweek 21. It looks a bold decision to activate it this early, considering there's so many fixtures left to reschedule and a limited number of game weeks available. It's entirely possible that we see several double game weeks in a row from Gameweek 25 onwards or thereabouts. One possible strategy they may be considering is to wildcard now and use the 2 free hits to attack the future doubles and blanks. A single manager decided to use their triple captain in Gameweek 21, which means for the first time this season the chip has been used by a member of the Elite 100. Onto the Elite 100's transfers. The most popular transfer was James out for Dawson, a very logical move with James carrying a long-term injury, and even if he'd not been injured, the Chelsea players looked like a must-sell after Gameweek 21. Gallagher to Bowen was the move made by 22 managers ahead of the West Ham double, and as we saw, Bowen was the most owned player in the template team. 18 managers opted for Keane as their James replacement, though as we know, the second of Everton's doubles has been postponed, so a one-pointer for the Keane owners. The most unfortunate moves were those who sold Salah and Foden for Son, which 24 managers did. Son was looking like a must-have for double Gameweek 22, and now looks a must-sell if you have him, as he's expected to be out until after the international break in a few game weeks. We'll finish by looking at how the Elite 100 managers are ranking currently. Their ranks are categorised into 5 areas: top 10k, top 100k, top 500k, top 1 mil, and outside top 1 mil. The breakdown is as follows. 4% are ranked inside the top 10k, 42% ranked within the top 100k, 86% within the top 500k, 96% inside the top 1 mil, and 4% are ranked outside the top 1 mil. Finn Solly remains the top manager as it stands, currently ranked 533rd overall. He's one of the managers with Son, so he'll have decisions to make, and he's shown us that he's not afraid to take hits after his -12 back in Gameweek 20. That concludes this video on the Elite 100. We'll be following them closely throughout the season. Thank you to FPL Strategy for taking the time to answer the questions. If you'd like to keep up with the top 100 greatest managers this season, make sure you're subscribed. Likewise, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like. I read every comment, so leave one below and I'll be sure to read it.